Hello, this is Valerie Aiello, and you're listening to Idea Diary. Thanks for coming back to my office and hanging out. All right, today I wanted to talk about internet self versus real life. I had seen someone talking about this on Instagram, and I have no idea who they are. And you know, when sometimes you accidentally scroll past something and then it's gone forever on Instagram, when it's like a suggested reel of some kind, when you're in the algorithm and you're just looking at fun dog videos and then something actually pops up that is interesting. I was looking at that, and this girl was talking about how hard her life was. Well, not how hard, but how she was a content creator and she spent all day long making her videos for the day, and she really wasn't engaging with anyone. She wasn't actually doing anything except for making a video, creating a video, and then being too tired for anything else. So she felt like she wasn't actually living a real life, or that real life was so much different than her internet life or what she was putting out there, because she would have all these cool ideas and put something out. And then the rest of the day was really just sitting by herself in her room, kind of just being a creative hermit. And it was starting to feel like there's two realities. And when I'm thinking about the younger kids, the 18, 19, 20-year-olds, or even the high school kids that are making content, and it's really good and it's really creative, and I think it's amazing overall. I know there is definitely bad stuff about social media for kids, and I know that it's probably cringy someday, way in the future, but really, is it when you're actually cute and creative? I don't mean like looks cute. I just mean like your ideas are cute, and you actually like know yourself really well, and you know the music that you like. Yes, that might change when you get older. And some of the content you create when you're in high school, it's probably awful, but I think we're in a different realm. I am so glad I didn't have the internet growing up for many reasons. I feel like having internet in the bedroom as a high school kid is terrifying when I think of it in the 90s way. But I feel like the new 16, 17, 18-year-olds are living a different experience totally. I think parents probably are really good about talking about the dangers, and schools probably pretty good about talking about the dangers of talking to strangers, even though they're probably getting into scenarios that aren't good. For the most part, I think they know about it. It's not like shocking. Definitely could always be improved. You could tell a kid every day, like, don't talk to strangers on the internet, and it still probably could happen, even for the smartest of kids. I think for a certain kid, I think the content that they're making when they're young doesn't necessarily have to be shied away from or afraid of it. I think if we could go back and watch old VHS tapes of us as kids and as high school kids, I think we would actually like to reminisce about the old days and look back on it and think of it fondly. Yes, you might be totally glad that it's not on the internet for the whole world, but I think the new kids are aware that the internet is forever, that if they put something out there, you might not be mature enough to know what forever means, and that you might not want to have that on the internet when you're looking for a job when you're 24 or 34 or 44 or 54. But who knows how the future's gonna unfold as far as the internet is concerned. And ultimately, I really like their creativity that is coming and that is being created right now. I can't imagine some of these kids that are showing what they look like. They're, with all their makeup styles and their hairstyles, and showing off their vintage collection of VHSs that they got at the Goodwill. There's all these kids making videos, and I can't imagine that it's not going to be completely adorable to one day look back upon. And I don't think it's that big of a deal. I don't necessarily think it's as big of a deal as older generations might be making it out to be, because, okay, so you loved whatever band it was when you were 16 or 17 or 20, and you wanted to like make 100 videos about it. I think it's actually cool and endearing. This isn't for every single kid. There's a certain kind of kid that they're using their creativity and they're making visual content, and for some of them it is amazing. It really truly is cool, and I can't wait to see what exactly is unfolding as far as people taking their personal brand to the next level and making it cool. You know, I definitely had the realization recently that even though it feels embarrassing and like who cares, and is it narcissistic, is it not, I don't feel like it's narcissistic to want to make content and make videos and share your ideas and your brain out there on the internet. Even if no one's watching, I think that we have one life to live. And if you want some sort of proof that you were on the planet and you want people to really, you know, if one day when you're gone, somebody somewhere possibly might want to check out, okay, who was this person? And now we have this technology that there's like this huge way to show ourselves off. And I don't think that is narcissistic. I think that's just kind of being human. And I'm coming to the realization that creating content maybe about yourself or just what you're into is really like a collage for somebody who maybe in the past might be really into self-portraits, or writers that are just writing about their ideas, or somebody who would like to write poetry. To me, this is just like a new medium to share your memories and yourself and your talent, and possibly teach, possibly just entertain, possibly be totally boring and no one cares. But maybe like 50 years from now, a great granddaughter or something, or maybe a million years from now, there's going to be some family member that wants to know, hey, what was Valerie all about in 2022, you know? Or a family member might be like thinking, oh, what was Aunt Valerie about in 2023? Oh, in 2008, she made all these YouTube videos because YouTube was brand new. Oh, we found this like MySpace archive. Oh, we found this Facebook archive. Let's kind of look back and see what that person was putting out into the world. And I'm hoping that the internet archive is actually working and people are actually able to access things instead of things falling into the rabbit hole. Because I'm imagining that someday, I'm feeling like all of this storage isn't going to be very cheap at some point. It's not going to be free. So we'll see how things shake out. In the meantime, we are able to upload tons and tons of video and content for free. So I am using that. So I'm not really into therapy or therapy speak, but while I was kind of researching the ideas and the different videos of internet life versus real life, this term came up, which is ideal self versus real self, which I guess a professional therapist named Carl Rogers came up with a way to analyze people about their real self versus their ideal self. So the person that you actually are today versus the ideal self that you're trying to be or build yourself up to. If you take your real self and your ideal self and kind of converge them, there's this like little overlapping thing, which he calls incongruence. The real self is more like how you are socially presenting yourself to kind of be accepted in society. And your ideal self kind of gets lost in the real world while you're trying to be accepted. But the less that you're actually living your ideal self life, kind of your real self, what you really wish that you could be, the more inauthentic you are, the more problems you possibly have. So I know a lot of people today complain about people that are fake on the internet, and what I'm kind of realizing is like, okay, what is oversharing versus the highlight reel? Like, people are really annoyed, I think, by oversharers, the people that show every single bit of every moment of their day, no matter how interesting it is. And people are also mad at people only showing the highlight reels, which I've always felt like is pretty reasonable, I guess. I don't know how maybe responsible it is to only show like the happy parts of your life, but I feel like it's pretty reasonable to want to only show the things that you're really proud of. I don't think showing the bad parts of your day is necessarily necessary. I think we all can kind of imagine that no one's life is perfect. So if you just want to show the highlight reels, I've always been okay with that. So I'm just becoming more and more laid back, more totally accepting of the idea that everyone has a personal brand. The internet is here. It is here to stay. You can live your life completely off the internet. It's not like a necessary thing. But if you want to use the internet and personal branding as a creative outlet, it can definitely help with building that ideal self when it is hard to say, even when you feel weird and you feel like it's embarrassing, but you really kind of know that you want to do something. And if it's writing newsletters or writing blogs, if it is releasing books, if it's releasing poetry, if it's being a musician, and if it's just making videos or making films, even if like the end goal is not to make money or sell something, even if it's just to make something and to have that creative passion fulfilled, to have that chance to build more into being your ideal self, which is actually healthy, not a big deal. It's not narcissistic. It's just being who you are and you're building yourself up, maybe with the audience, maybe not, whatever it is, real life versus internet life. I think that creating your own creative representation of yourself online, it's cool, it's fun. Having internet friends is better than having no friends. It is a way to connect with people that are into exactly what you're into. You could be living in a gigantic major city and you still might not be able to meet people that are into exactly what you're into, and you might be feeling lonely. You could be in a small town with zero chance of meeting anyone that you're actually mesh well with, that is actually knows what you're talking about, knows what you're saying. And I say, if we're already with internet or not, having to deal with this real self, the society self, plus your ideal self, that congruence of in between and how you're making your life, your dreams, your reality, I say go for it. And this video feels like it's getting already super long. I wanted to talk about the scene in The Lion King where Simba he has lost his father and he's already like a teenage lion. And the crazy monkey tells him, remember who you are. I think if you need to like go rewatch that scene, if you're feeling if you're feeling like it's hard to express yourself, go rewatch that scene. I think we're all going to interpret it differently, but something was important about that. And someone had mentioned in a show, on a podcast or something that I was watching, to go rewatch that scene. And I did find it and I found it very interesting just to kind of revisit that. And it's kind of like going over in my mind, like, what does it all mean? But there's something definitely there. All right, well, thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you later.